Hi everyone, my name is Juliana Rubio Slager and I'm going to take you through the rehearsal today. We're looking at the mountain conversation between Psyche and Orwell. Psyche is played by Elizabeth Marlin in the purple and Orwell is played by Sarah Clark in black and white. Prior to this, Orwell thinks that Psyche is dead, and so right here in the beginning you see Psyche kind of bubbling over with excitement about the mountain home she lives in. Right there she gives Orwell a drink from the stream. She's showing Orwell how beautiful the mountain is, and she's really excited about the fact that the mountain is not nearly as scary as what she grew up believing in Gloam. And then right here she's listening to Orwell talk, and she's kind of looking across to see Orwell saying, "Hey, I thought you were dead, what happened?" So Psyche takes Orwell over, and you'll see this in the stage footage in a second, but Samuel Upsall plays Cupid. You see him over there in a black mask. So Psyche says, "You can't bring the lantern over by Cupid because he doesn't want to be revealed, but let me explain to you who he is." And she kind of shocks Orwell by saying that she's just recently gotten married. So instead of dying, she's married this invisible god, and Orwell's having a really tough time believing that. So she keeps bringing the light over to look at him, and then Psyche right here is saying, "Hey, he doesn't want to be revealed. He's asked me not to ever see his face. So this lantern is going to have to stay over here." And Orwell, at this point, realizes that she's got to take Psyche home, so she brings her tiara from Gloam. Psyche says, "No, I have no interest in going back to Gloam. This is so much better." So now Orwell's getting a little bit more intense. And right here you see Psyche saying, "I still love you," and Orwell saying, "No, you don't. If you really loved me, you would go home to Gloam." And this little motif is two hands lifting up that you'll see the girls do throughout the show, and it just is their bond of sisterhood. And then Psyche says, "Hey, look at this palace that I live in." And she starts to let on to Orwell that she may not just live in the forest, but she's actually sees a palace. So Orwell runs over to grab the lantern to look and see if she can see this magical palace that Psyche's talking about. And at this point, she's completely convinced that Psyche is crazy. So now we're cutting to the stage footage so you can see what it looks like when the whole thing is on stage, what you'll get to experience in Grand Rapids and in Chicago in just a few weeks. So Psyche leaves in her invisible palace, and you see Orwell talking to Bardia, who is her captain of the guard. And she's explaining to him that Psyche sees a palace that doesn't exist, and she's married to a man who's invisible. And she's telling him that she thinks Psyche has gone completely mad, and it's almost worse than her being dead because she's no longer the Psyche that Orwell knows and loves. So she and Bardia kind of have a conversation. It's getting late. Bardia falls asleep, but Orwell's still thinking about Psyche's madness and how she's been betrayed by her sister, who she loves more than anyone else in the whole world. And so you see Orwell kind of walking through the valley, and she's looking for the palace to say, "Okay, if this palace is real, I'm going to at least try to look for it." And as she's walking alone by herself, for just a brief moment, she's able to enjoy the mountain like Psyche does, and she drinks out of the stream again. She's sitting down on the grass, and she realizes maybe Psyche isn't as crazy as I thought. And this grass is so beautiful and soft, and oh my goodness, there's the palace. And for a split second, she's able to see it. But then she comes to her senses and goes, "That's insane. That's absolutely crazy." And everything she just experienced, which was true, she starts to justify it to herself. Much like we do when we don't want to experience what's true, she makes up an alternative story, which is that Psyche is crazy and that she's been bewitched by this crazy person in the mountain who has tricked Psyche into marrying her. And so here you see some of the cool transitions on stage, which you will really enjoy in the theater. It's a very cinematic way of moving from one place to the other through lighting and gliding sets. And then here we are back in Gloam.